So let's talk about car movies for just a second. I wanted to just take some time and give you guys my opinion on the car movie climate, if you guys can hear me. I was just going over, I think, the Missouri River. Maybe. These days, there aren't really that many good new car movies. I mean, Ford versus Ferrari or Le Mans was a step in the right direction. We all know the Fast and the Furious is not a car movie franchise anymore. You could say it never was, but I think it was for the first 3 films. After that, I mean, outside of that, most car movies nowadays in recent years, are a bit disappointingly cheesy, and they are either too focused on the cars, too focused on the people in the films, or are just too cheesy to be taken seriously, or are, like I said, too technical, or blah 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 blah. Like any variation of things. Like, filmmakers can't seem to be able to figure out how to make a car movie that appeals to everybody. I mean, there was Baby Driver, which had some great, I want to say some of the best car sequences I've ever seen. Very few like jump cuts and all sorts of things like that to seem to weave together a whole bunch of stunts to make it look like one seamless thing when it already was a seamless thing. That's what's so incredible about the stunts in that film. I wish someone could take a film and make it something like that. But then Baby Driver, it wasn't really a car movie. It was still like a people movie. It was about a kid that was in debt, trying to work off his debt, robbing banks and stuff. Like, okay, sure. That's a cool story. Added bonus, you get 2 cool car scenes. I mean, the only good car scene really is the one at the beginning. I feel like you need a human aspect, a good balance of human aspects and car elements to have a good car movie. Because I think it's good to make a movie that appeals to ordinary people that aren't necessarily car people, but like cool cars, or can appreciate that cars can be cool, and that chase scenes are cool. And then people that like cars, and this, that, and the other. And I think if you can find that good balance of where it's fairly technically accurate, but not overly, is good. And it's got a good story, but it's not, for one thing, let's hope it's not a bad story, but it's also not the only thing we care about. Like, we also want to see the cars being built or driven. We also want to see the actors, the characters get to where they want to go, and this, that, and the other. So I think intertwining cars with the characters' motivations, with human causations for their motivations, is good, if that makes sense. So like just going on a limb here, haven't even really thought about this as much. Need for Speed The Run, I feel like the story in that game, right, is the inner workings, early beginnings, foundations of a really good car movie story. You've got someone with a character fault that likes to gamble, is bad at it, and is in debt, right? I think that's pretty good because they can overcome that, and you can also have the journey of them getting ready for this big race or having them go straight into this big race. I personally think if you're going to tell the story, you should have the process of Jack, or whoever the character will be in the film, getting in debt or starting out in debt, already in trouble, but not immediately going into the run, because we want to see Jack succeed. So we need to give like a good 10, 15, 20 minutes, maybe at the most, of screen time setting up the fact that we should care about Jack, like Jack, be rooting for him, and really wanting him to go into the run, because it would be cool to see him race across America. So we need to set up the fact that he's a good driver, that he's not a terrible person, but that he does have a gambling addiction, and that he's in debt. So we have to set that up somehow in 20, 30 minutes as an arbitrary amount of time. It could be more or less, depending on how long the entire movie is. You just don't want to make the first half of the movie him getting ready. You want most of the movie to be the reason why you're watching the movie, which is the race across America. And so you set that up, and then you've got, if you want to do San Francisco to New York, you can, or you can do LA to Washington, D.C., or Florida, or what have you. It doesn't really matter. But you got that cross-country thing. You do want to go through highlight places like the Rockies. I think it's cool to go through the Alps. You want to have all these different weather conditions because that's opportunity for some really cool and intense scenes. I think that's really important. Because once you set up the human aspect, you can make the car sequences really cool, and we can care about the driver getting through those cool sequences. And so, like, I love road trips. I love the idea of cruises and rallies. So a movie taking this sort of driving and making it go crazy, making it, you know, dramatized and good for the silver screen, I think would be really cool. But just any film that basically intertwines human activities with automotive activities like that with a good balance to the point where you care about the human characters and also the cars at the same time, no matter what brought you into the film, I think is the golden key, the keystone to making a cool car movie. And I think a good way to start is to look at some of the classics, some of the cult classics, the originals, and using those to kind of plan out how you want to make your film successful by taking inspiration from that, because there's a reason why those films are successful. And I maybe doing the exact same formula, doing something similar with your own twist. I don't think it really matters too much, but the threshold, the window of where like the balance, the correct, you know, level of balance is somewhere in a very small, tight space that you got to figure out. So if, like, I were to make a car film, I wouldn't only show it to car people. I'd show it to ordinary people, whether it be family. Some truck's fucking tire exploded. Jesus. I'd show it to, like, family members, friends, random people that aren't just car people, so that they can see it and hopefully go, ooh, ah, and then show it to car people and have them go, oh, this is pretty good. I don't know how far I am from my destination. So I'm 3 minutes away from the logistics center. I looked at the last recording session's footage, and, you know, you can hear the car, you can hear the rev matching, but is it good enough for you guys that it's, like, cool to hear? Like, should I even focus on that? Because, like, I don't know. Oh, I missed my turn. We're turning right on Fifi Road. Fifi. But this is a better, this gives you a better idea of, like, how I actually want to do this series, you guys. Like, I want to be able to take advantage of my commutes and make them into something that you guys can enjoy with me, because I like driving, I like talking about stuff, so why not make a series out of it? We're near the Boeing headquarters. Oh, that was more of a fighter jet than a actual, you know, commercial plane. I think I've figured it out. Okay. I'm gonna go and try and get a job. Maybe. We'll see. I'll see you guys in a a little bit.